What's going on, guys? So this is a fun story for you today. 37 drivers called in sick and Sydney's transport system fell over. Now, I read this and I thought to myself, I can't just jump the gun and assume that it's men who didn't show up and things fell over, right? Because that would be sexist. So I thought, Sydney, it's time to do some research. So I did some research and I found a little piece from 2017, February 27th, to be specific. By the way, big thank you to MGTOW 101 for this topic here. This is a juicy one. A new recruitment campaign is encouraging women to consider a career with Sydney Trains as a driver or a guard. And it's got a photo of their happy little New South Wales Trains female workers there. It says currently 6% of Sydney train drivers are women and 14% work as guards. Okay, so 6% of Sydney train drivers are women. Let's go back to the original article, shall we? Sydney's transport system fell over this morning, leaving thousands of passengers stranded in wet weather. There were major delays across the city, including an 8-kilometre queue just across the City West Link before 8 a.m. A motorbike accident exacerbated the issue. Transport officials have blamed wet weather and staff calling in sick for major delays on 5 Sydney train lines. The ABC reports that 37 train drivers did not turn up for work this morning, resulting in the loss of about 150 of the usual 400 morning peak services. Now, I'm curious here. Let's do a little bit of maths, shall we? So, 37 train drivers didn't turn up for work. Now, if only 6% of train drivers are women, then let's see how many women didn't show up for work. So, 37 times 6. So, assuming that, you know, the numbers of people that called in sick were proportionate to the amount of people that are in the that are in Sydney Trains as workers, 2.22 women called in sick. Now, if 2 or 3 women called in sick, do you think that the transport network would have grinded to a halt? Of course not. And I seem to remember the whole Pussy March thing when Trump got elected. Not going to go on the Trump discussion right now. But the whole Pussy March, the Women's March, like a day without women, the world would fall apart without women for a day. And of course, everything was business as usual. So, roughly, I would say probably about 30 to 35 of those train drivers that called in sick were men. Now, given that, there's only 150 services. So let's divvy that up a bit more, right? 2% of it. So women would have accounted for roughly 3 to 5 ish of the usual 400 morning services. Not a big deal if the women don't turn up. It is a big deal though if the men don't turn up. So the reason that we hadn't had a day without men before is because men are too responsible, right? And you're not going to find men putting freaking pussy hats on and going, I'm taking a day off work because penis. It's never going to happen. It won't just happen, right? So the delays impacted the T1 North Shore, T2 Inner West and Leppington, T3 Bankstown, T5 Cumberland, and T8 Airport South Line. Campbelltown was one of the worst hit areas. Meanwhile, Rail, Tram and Bus Union, New South Wales Secretary Alex Clarsons, has asked passengers to direct their frustration at the government rather than the workers, who are just as frustrated as commuters with the state of the network. The workers? Why would the workers be frustrated? I need to dig a little bit further on this one. Let's get to the bottom of this, shall we? If you're running a service that completely crashes whenever there's an incident or a few workers are off, you've got serious problems, Clarkson says. And I'm not just going to disagree with that particular point. Now, do you guys remember a while ago? Do you guys remember a while ago when I did a video about how some leading researchers at Australia's National University, the government-funded one in our political hub, Canberra, right? Do you guys remember? Because I do. I'll give you a little flashback of what happened in that video. So they were basically saying there's this leading researchers, feminist researchers, but leading researchers at a government-funded university, basically saying women are stressed out. Women need to work less so that they can, find a good work-life balance. So women should be limited to 34 hours a week, and men should be limited to 47 hours a week. So, let me take you to another news article, shall we? And by the way, I've linked all of these in the description for you because I know you might want to check these out. Sydney trains workers battling fatigue and under pressure, says driver of 25 years. Wait, you mean these train drivers are under pressure? Doesn't sound like the type of job a woman would want to do. I need to find out more. Sydney train driver Van Creamer has spoken out about the impact of the new timetable and staff shortages. A Sydney train driver with 25 years experience says his colleagues are struggling with fatigue since the recently introduced timetable increased working hours. Increased working hours. Interesting. The claim follows the announcement today that train workers in New South Wales will be striking for 24 hours on Monday, January 29th. So this is obviously an old article, but the content of it is relevant nonetheless. The news also comes in the wake of last week's rail chaos when thousands of customers were delayed for hours in a network-wide meltdown. Driver Van Creamer, 66 years old he is. Van, the boss, is 66 years old. And he worked almost 10.5 hours last Monday night with one break, driving these massive trains, right? So that's not an easy thing to do. In an emergency, you may do over 10 hours, but that seems to be happening more regularly now, he said. It knocks you around because we're supposed to have 11 hours between shifts. Mr. Creamer said he lived close to the depot, so he was better off than some drivers who lived at the Central Coast and spent precious hours between shifts driving to and from work. The timetable is doable if we have enough drivers, but they're giving us very tight margins to get to the next train, sometimes 6 minutes, he said. If your train is 3 minutes late coming into Lidcombe and you've got to get to the other side of Lidcombe to Olympic Park platform, you've got to go through all the passengers. It puts us under pressure. Pressure can often lead to mistakes. It leads to errors like going past signals, overshooting platforms, things like that, which we get punished for. And we know how well women deal with punishment when they're criticized when they're under pressure. Mr. Creamer said he supported more services, blah, 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 blah. They've got more drivers in training apparently, etc., etc. Anyway, so look, that's the main crux of that. But it sounds like these drivers are under a hell of a lot of pressure. And how is Bertha going to drop little Tyrese? How's she going to drop little Tyrese off to work? Sorry, off to daycare if she's working a 10.5 hour shift. Oh, that's right. She can't because she's busy driving a train. So she doesn't want to do that job, which is why there's only 3% men. Now, I'm going to check something out here. Let's just say from Central Station. All right, let's see what time the trains start in Sydney. All right, let's see how early these strong independent women would have to get up if they wanted to work as a train driver. Let's say going from Central Station to Parramatta. Let's give this a look, shall we? And let's say we want to catch the train and we want to depart at, say, 1 a.m. Now, there's no trains at 1 a.m., but This will tell us when the first train is out of Central Station. 1 a.m. Here we go. Let's see if there's an option for train only. Here we go. So the first train leaving Central, that looks like that would be at 5:23 a.m. Oh, I bet they just love. I bet they love getting out of bed at 4 a.m., 3:30 a.m. All these women just jumping out of bed, full of beans, full of excitement, ready to start the day as a train driver. Yeah, because that's never going to happen. By the way, thank you to Peppermint Cat's Ass for the for the $3.50 donation, brother. I appreciate you. So we've had this is actually essentially a day without men. This is what happens when men don't show up for work. Shit grinds to a halt. Right? Completely grinds to a halt. Right? And the women don't want to get up at 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. Have you ever tried to get a woman up at 3 or 4 a.m.? Unless they're like, get up early to meditate, or, you know, they've got a routine of something they really love doing. Have you ever tried to get a woman up that early? Did you come out of it alive or with no injuries? Chances are that you didn't. And if you didn't come out of it alive, then you're probably not watching this stream. But you probably got an injury if you are watching this stream. Right? So, just very interesting to see. Right? Because we're never going to see 50% representation. And what was the actual title of this article that they had for Sydney Trains, where they were trying to get more women? It's taking a while to load, but anyway. I mean, we've basically got a situation where men haven't rocked up to work, shit grinded to a halt. Maybe 2-3 trains roughly would have come to a halt out of the 400 in the morning. Wouldn't have been a massive drama. Everything would have gone business as usual. It's just another day in Sydney. And then on top of that, you've got the New South Wales government going, oh, we need more women driving trains. We need more women girls. Oh, we need more vaginas walking in the trains. Oh, we need to pay more vaginas. We can't be paying so many penises. Right? This is what's going on with the New South Wales government. They've absolutely lost the freaking plot. Even we got Tony V here. My man Tony V says he works at Sydney Trains. Most women are so selfish and self-centered it's beyond irritating. Tony V, do you know any female drivers? That'd be very interesting to know. Very interesting to know. So I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. When men don't show up, shit goes downhill. When women put on pussy hats and go marching for the day instead of going to work, business as usual. And this is why men are so important. We're such an important part of the world ticking over, because the world wouldn't tick over the way it does. Wouldn't tick over the way it does without men. It just wouldn't. And yet here we go. We've got we've got all of this affirmative action. We need more women in Sydney Trains. You know, we need more women. We've only got 3% women. Women don't want to drive trains. And if they do, they want to do it for the money. They don't want to do it for the freaking prestige. They don't want to do it because they want to drive a train. Right? And on top of that, they don't want to do the early shift. They don't want to do the late shift. They want the day shift. They want to take little Billy to daycare and pick him up in the afternoon. Right? Right? France wanted 50% representation of women and men in emergency services in France. Right? And even now, even after 10 years, they've only got 16% representation. Stop with the bullshit, people. And there was also another thing I saw today. What was it? Charles Sturt. I'll see if I can find this ad. Charles Sturt University. Be like Emma campaign. This was a hoot. I was actually riding my bike home this afternoon and I was howling with laughter in my helmet. I don't ever remember howling with laughter in my entire year, in my entire life, in my helmet. I can't find it right now, but I'm going to see if I can find that and I'll share that with you guys in another video. But tell me what you think, guys. Smash that thumbs up, by the way. I've got less than 20% of you with the thumbs up right now. Smash that thumbs up, guys. Please do that for me. And please share this video. Share with everyone you know, especially those people who think that the world would fall apart and grind to a halt without women. Because that's just not the truth. Maybe daycare centers would grind to a halt. Maybe hospitals would grind to a halt. Maybe absolutely everywhere that's completely dominated by women, where they don't want any more men, where they don't need affirmative action for men because, hey, if men want to work here, they can come and work here. Just saying. And Woodhouse, I will wear the wig again. I mean, wait. Is this what I think it is? Share this video, guys! And if you want to donate, paypal.me/SydneyMigtown in the description below. Check me out on my other social media platforms. Guys, I love you. Appreciate you all coming in. Thumbs up. Share the video. Comment. And donate if you want to. And I'll catch you again in the next video. And again, thank you to MGTOW 101 for the topic on this video. Peace.